Hello, everybody, and welcome to Silent Podcast, the place there everything but silent. I'm your host Isaiah, back with bounce checks to talk Big Brother Canada 11. This should be a very fun episode. Obviously, first of all, Katie, unfortunately, couldn't pull up tonight. Josie might be running late. We're gonna see, but we got Janelle. Janelle,
Hey
obviously,
guys,
silent podcaster. Brand new to the team. Janelle, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this episode, especially with Betty.
Of course. Well, there you go. We got our, our special guest.
Ooh,
Dang.
dang. Well, I'm sure Isaiah will be back as soon as he's able. There he goes.
Psych.
We got Betty. What's going on, Betty? How you doing?
Hey, Isaiah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you and Janelle today. It's going to be great.
Yes.
A great start, obviously. But no, this should be a fun little podcast. We're here to talk about we're in week 7 of Big Brother Canada
Yeah.
11. We're coming down to the wire. A lot of stuff, obviously, since last time we spoke. Janelle,
Yes.
how you feeling? What's going on with the season? First time on the pod this season. How you feel about it?
I'm loving this season. I've loved so many of the characters. I've connected with so many people, and it seems like a super fun cast. So many iconic moments, fights, arguments, people not holding their tongue. Super sad there's no feeds because I feel like we're missing out on so much gameplay, so much personality. I feel like my connections have suffered a little bit with some of the people, but I've loved this season. It's not been boring whatsoever, not even in the least bit.
For sure, very back and forth, very interesting. Betty, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, like I literally echo the exact same thing you said, Janelle. I think it's been heated. I think the first few weeks were a little slow where I was like, okay, like what's going on? But then later it just started picking up, especially with I love how female dominated it's been. I just I'm obviously, everybody knows my stand cards out for Kuzi. And yeah, like it's just been so many strong personalities, like going back and forth. And yeah, I've been loving every minute of it. I've been hating people, loving people, hating people again.
Absolutely.
So it's good, yeah.
Now, Betty, obviously, you just played last season. That's probably a little different. Now you get to watch it as an alumni. Are you getting like some PTSD here? You're like, ugh, I remember something like that. Like it's a little crazy. Like, how you feel about all that?
You know what? Sometimes I actually find myself I was like just talking to Summer about this too the other day, where I was just like, you know what? Sometimes I see these people and they're just not being loyal, and it just pisses me right off. And she's like, yeah, it's Big Brother. Like, we're just like kind of talking through it. But yeah, there's definitely been situations, even just this last one with the chain of safety. Like, I was just like, oh my God, this is so intense. Like, I felt like I was feeling a little bit of how I felt while I was in the house. So it comes and goes, of course, but it's cool to have this like new lens where you're like, wow, I played this. Now you get to watch it. It's almost like you have this like inside scoop, which has been pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, so it's been great watching it this season.
Okay. Now for anyone watching or watching on a replay, obviously we have our extra interviews press as usual. So if you want to tune in on our interviews with Satina and Hope after the stream, it'll be available immediately after this. So make sure you check that out. But I'd say we should start getting to what's been going on in the house. So obviously, last time we came here, Kuzi was the HOH. Apparently the day after, like we got the email, they were like, look, we got something special happening. And we find out that Kuzi gets dethroned like immediately. She doesn't really get a true HOH. She was thinking allegedly about putting up like Ty and Hope or something in that combination. But we are going to see a crazy series of events that eventually leads to a safety chain. Now, Janelle, I wanted to get your opinions on this because a lot of people feel very strongly about how this went down. We see how basically the entire house in the room trying to get these pages together to basically get the twist for the dinner to go down. How do you feel about all that?
I am actually surprised at how many people were upset about it. I thought it was hilarious. We want these players to do everything that they can. We want them to fight for their lives. We want them to campaign. When they roll over and die, we don't like that. So they went into that room. It wasn't to be mean. It wasn't to be nasty. They were just trying to prevent those people from getting what they thought was a power. I thought it was funny when I was watching it because then it wasn't inspired by meanness. It was inspired by gameplay and trying to avoid the opposite side from getting a leg up on them. So I liked it. I don't know why people were freaking out about it. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And I do admit I'm biased. If it had been in the reverse, I might have liked it less if they were locking my people out or the people I'm rooting for out. I fully admit that. I try to be transparent with my bias, but I didn't think it was that bad.
Obviously, you guys can jump in at any time. But Betty, if you were in this situation and you're like the girly pops getting locked out the room, how do you think you react with that?
I would probably like take the stools from the kitchen and start throwing them. Just like, let me in. Are you kidding me? Just joking. But no, if there was actually like seriously, they were letting me out, if they were not letting me in, especially being a player in there, you're already paranoid as hell. So then to know that 90% of the house is in there and like you're the 10% outside, like I don't know if I would just be chill about that. Like I would probably be banging and making sure that they let me in, because if there was some sort of advantage in the game, I would want to make sure that I was also a part of it.
Yeah.
As a viewer, I thought it was so funny. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, and Hope is so jacked. He's just like holding multiple people pushing at the door. Like that was pretty cool to watch.
I feel like I would have charged straight into the door if I was in that situation. Like, what? Like, come on. Like, a lot of people have been saying, like, oh, bullying. How dare they lock them out? BB20. Please, BB21, nothing in comparison. Like this is straight game.
Yeah.
I don't care. Obviously, like seeing who left last weekend, who's HOH this week, it paid dividends. So like, it's a part of the game, man. Like I didn't mind it. I thought it was hilarious. And it's not like they're picking gummy bears or something, right? Like, it's part of the game. So
I don't think it was necessarily the smartest game wise. I mean, like, I understand some of the arguments people made about them really showing their cards by logging those three specifically out. I think that was the only downfall. And then it ended up being not even a power. It was something for everybody to have. So I think that was a little bit of a knock for them. But besides that, I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely just showed the cards immediately, which that's why now the girly pops, like they know all they have really is each other, like more than ever. So yeah. I definitely agree with what you said.
All right. So we're going to see that it's actually like some kind of invitation to a safety chain. And, as people know, safety chain is basically a twist where you start with the person who's HOH, they pick someone for safety, and it keeps going down until there's like a bottom portion of the house. We do see Renee, Ty, and Hope as the Santina. Thank you. We see those three as the bottom, and they have to do a competition basically. We're going to see Santina unfortunately go. I'm sad. Santina has had a really steady. It's like she started off shooting straight down in terms of like who I liked, and then she like increased her way back to the top. Like I really enjoyed chaotic Santina. I thought that she was giving a lot of energy, and I enjoyed her presence. It's definitely going to be missed. But how did you guys feel about Santina here?
Same as you. At first, when she backdoored JM, I thought it was way too much, that the guys were too much in her head. I thought she was going to be a lackey for them. That was my perception at first. But as the game went on, the same as you, I really started to like Santina. I liked her spicy side. I thought she was smart. I thought she was bold. She wasn't afraid to make moves. I mean, I guess it helped that she was a secret HOH, but I liked her. She really, really grew on me, and I wish I would have gotten to see her again. I'm sorry, on feeds. But I thought it was idiotic to take her out. I don't know what. I have no idea why. Well, it seems like Kuzi didn't trust her. And I remember in week 1, Kuzi went to her a couple of times just trying to connect on a game level. And Santina gave her nothing, not a drop, not a drip, nothing to work with or nothing to trust. And I think her backdooring JM that week really made it hard for Kuzi to trust her. Mm-hmm. Then when they talked in the HOH, Kuzi and Santina kept expressing how nervous she was, and that made Kuzi nervous. She's saying, why are you nervous? I've given you my word. I'm not going to go back on our word. But I don't think that Kuzi could ever really trust Santina. And Santina didn't help that. but she could never get that trust back with Kuzi, and that was her downfall this particular week. But it was still stupid because you had those three girly pops against one little Santina. Like, I'd rather. How are you taking out one person that's clearly by themselves over three people who are still in and have now won two back-to-back HOHs?
I
Like,
know.
I did not understand their train of thought that week.
No, I agree with you totally. I was just like, I feel like maybe they should have thought about that a little bit further. Like, do you know like how Daniel and Kuzi were having that back and forth about saving Shania? Like, I feel like perhaps that conversation should have been like more strategy about the benefits of keeping Santina, because I myself felt the same way. Like, she was literally a lone wolf. So like to take her in would have probably been valuable. And she's like extremely strong. So I was super disappointed. I felt like, oh,
Where's your brain?
yeah, exactly. But you know, it is what it is. Like in this game too, sometimes it happens. Like sometimes when that person isn't really have those like that social game, that's where it needs to be. Then
Yeah.
they start becoming that isolated person where it's like it's easier to get rid of them because they're a threat and you're not really thinking about how they could actually benefit you.
Yeah. And I feel like they tried. Like Daniel tried. Even Hope tried. And Kuzi just was not having it this time. And I think some of her decisions are like affecting her now, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. And even when they put up Ty, I was like, really? Like, we're thinking about putting up Ty. I was like, really? Like, you can use him and get these girly pops out the way. You know what I mean?
They weren't scared of them. They didn't think they were going to do anything. And now we're and now
that low threat level.
Yes. And now look at this. Like Renee, who hasn't won anything. I'm sorry, I don't want to jump ahead, but like two back-to-back wins, and y'all are 2 crowns gone.
Agreed.
Now I do want to say, looking back at it, I mean, interesting decision from Kuzi to pick Hope first. You know, I get it. They're trying to hide like how close the three of her and Daniel and Anika are, but you know, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but I do think that Daniel, out of everyone, really benefited off of this. You know, he's trying to play the middle right now. He's trying to keep his options open. We're going to see when eventually we get to the Claudia HOH that she kind of brings that up as a reasoning. I don't know how legit that is, but she brings up how Daniel was looking out for them. He threw competitions allegedly. You know, he's playing the middle, and you know, they need to start looking at that soon because I think Daniel is kind of really becoming a force for the end game. But you know, we'll get to that when we get to that. But so obviously Santina's gone. We're going to see Claudia. Yeah, Claudia's coming out with the HOH the week after. And I'm not the day after. I keep forgetting that this was literally all on Friday. That's crazy.
Yes.
We see Claudia get the HOH, and you know, it's instantly like, oh crap, like I can't believe this is going on. You know, gut instinct, I'm like, all right, Ty's at least going to go on the block, so we're going to see Ty and Hope get nominated. Ty gets the veto, takes himself off, and Kuzi goes up, and you know, Kuzi not having it, not happy, and you know, it's crazy that, you know, second week in a row we're going to lose another crown member. You know, Betty, for you, if you're in this situation, right, like if you're the Kuzi, how do you handle this? Because you know, she's trying to like keep it strategic, but at the same time she's trying to not blow up on her, you know what I'm saying? So how do you feel about that?
I mean, I can get it in both ways. Like, obviously, you saw, like, I'm a very emotional person. I don't hide that at all. So, like, when I saw her acting that way, I understood, like, you know, you're just put on the block after you told you weren't going to be, like, on the block. Do you know what I mean? And I also felt like on Claudia's part, putting Ty on the block, I knew she wanted to get rid of him, but I also thought, like, was that the most effective way, knowing that he was going to play in the veto? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
exactly. So I just had so much in my mind where I was like, okay, I believe that her reaction was probably warranted, but just knowing this game, she probably should have been a little bit more strategic when she was chatting with Claudia, like just the way that she was kind of like letting Daniel know that it was her move to save Shania. Like, you know, it's almost like you're ruining your social game. You're kind of impacting your original alliance right now where they're kind of annoyed with you. Like, it's not the best look. So
Yeah.
I was just a little, I was just like, maybe you could have done that a little bit better.
First, I was mad. Can we rewind? that comp was so easily gameable. Claudia figured out, let me just keep putting Ty's face up there. Eventually, Ty's going to get this drink, and then Ty's going to go because there was no penalty for getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Game that if those other two of the crown, Daniel and Anika, could win something more often, it would be better. But she figured out how to game that. And I was like, oh, the moment she did. And I agree with you, Betty. I messaged Isaiah, I think, when Kuzi was talking to Claudia, and I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna put you on a block. What are you doing? Like, simmer down. And you need her squad's votes. So
exactly.
I was like, oh, Kuzi. And I was like, these drops done deceived us because she's about to go home. I was scared after twice she did it. Because it was before she went on the block. And then she talked to her after. And I didn't think it was smart to keep beating on the drum that she was the reason Daniel saved the girly pops, gave it to Shania. She was beating that like a hard drum. And Daniel's aware of that now.
Yeah.
And he already has that final four with Claudia, Shania, him, and Anika. He's probably ready for Kuzi to go out that door and ride that other final four. Well, he will likely win to the end. So yeah, Kuzi had me nervous. I was like, oh,
I know. And it's like, and I feel like Daniel's a scary player just in the sense that he's playing the middle so good. And like, obviously I've done a bit of research just on his background being a super fan. So like now he's in the middle. He's a super fan of the game. He has these tidbits of information about, you know, what Kuzi was saying just in terms of it being her move. He hasn't really like built his resume quite. Like, I mean, I hate using that term because it's like, what do you mean? Like you can have influence in the game. Like look at Kev, his resume was like nothing. So it's like, it's also, he just has that, he's a smart guy, you know what I mean? And I feel like he has like huge potential of winning. So he just scares me because I'm also like, oh,
he's about to turn and I'm not happy about it. I mean, I give him credit for the position that he's in, but I'm just like, oh, because I don't like what he's doing. Like when he was doing what I like, but it's really good for his game. He's right in the middle. If the girly pops win, they're not slapping him up there. If
he's the last person they're thinking about.
So he's done a great job. Unfortunately, I feel like I don't really have a connection with him as a viewer personally. While I acknowledge that he's playing a great game, I think if he gets there, he's a shoo-in. As long as it's not against Kuzi, he's winning. And the jury behind Kuzi, as far as popularity, is him.
For sure.
So if he gets there,
I've always said this about strategists. Strategists do make the game boring. It's just that if you're entertaining with it, you know. And you know, I think Daniel is playing a very good strategy game. Like if you look at how he's set up, it's Kuzi and Anika with the final two with Anika. He's in the middle of the girly pops. And then also, you know, I don't think Ty's directly coming at him immediately right now. He's coming after the girls first. So he's going to be here for a while. I think that if he's sitting next to the right person, there's a good shot he wins. But it's going to get difficult.
Final two with Anika, like that's a great final two to have, just an FYI.
And I think that she's contributed. Like I hear her in strategy talks. Unfortunately, the rest of the house doesn't see that. Like there's not that respect level, and you need to get that. So I hope she does something because she hasn't done anything. Like I was seething last night. I'm like, you two, it was Kuzi and the girly pops. I'm like, what do y'all do? Except I feel like they hide. It's a good strategy, so you can't knock it. But they're like behind the front runner, you know.
That's what I think. I like Anika. Like I want her to win, but I also feel like at the end, like I'm interested to hear the case that she presents because you nailed it. It's that respect piece too. Like you can be the strategist, you can do all the things, but if your teammates don't also see that, then you're gonna get to the end and it's gonna be like a unanimous vote. So, but you know, it's only day 45 or day 48. Like we got, you know, almost 20 more days.
I hope she has a plan to do something.
For sure.
You know, she has to do something to make herself stand out or it's over.
Yeah.
Because the jury is not high on her.
Yeah.
They're not.
Who? Anika?
Yeah, I don't think that they see her. They don't respect her game as much as I'm seeing. They're screaming.
I think
Daniel.
The crown members are very open. Like I think first of all, as long as a crown person is at the end, like that person's getting all the votes. I don't think you know, Anika obviously, you know, she has some enemies, you know, every now and then, but I do think that the Crown specifically do like Anika. Like I can see,
Yeah.
Sure.
especially if she sits next to Daniel, even though Daniel's played a pretty good game. I think Betty said it the best earlier. Like this is a very female heavy season. I wouldn't be shocked if all the girls are like, we need a girl to win this season, because there's also a great chance that the girls could try to vote together. They could all put their votes on Anika. Like, you know, she's played an equally good game.
I agree with you.
Yeah, like in my mind, I think and I don't, obviously she's still new to this, but it's kind of like a sidekick thing going on here. She's been the sidekick to Kuzi at times in her fight. She's been the sidekick to Daniel as a player. You know, she's the sidekick. You know, sometimes that's hard, but you're always not going to be blatantly targeted first when you got these shields like Kuzi and Daniel in front of you, you know. So you know, her end game moves are going to be interesting. You know, we see Daniel constantly trying to push her, like, we need to take Kuzi out soon, and she's like, do we? You know, so I don't know what her prerogative is for the end game just yet. But I mean, she's going to be here for a little bit. Like, I think she's definitely like final 5 right now. But
I feel that too.
Yeah.
I agree. And I also think she should get a little bit of credit. Like she was put on the block very early on, had a veto used on her, and like then wasn't like the pawn. Like that's like
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
she avoided that. She was able to get in, and that's when I think my opinion switched on her. I said, I started to hear her talking, and interacting and talking game. I'm like, oh, okay. She's not as clueless as like, because I knew she came in as a new fan, and like she didn't seem to know much, but I feel like she picked it up really, really well. I just want it to be visible to other people. I have so much respect for her game. I just need her to do something so that other people have that respect for her game and see the move that she's making and how she's contributing to the position that she's in.
Exactly. I agree. Totally.
Yeah.
And I also did the same thing as you, just in terms of when I saw her video, I was like, oh, somebody who doesn't know anything about the game. I was like, first boo, you know what I mean? And then like, wow, this is actually good. So fingers crossed, you know, I hope she can get far for sure.
Me too.
Okay. So we are going to see Renee, you know, we don't know what she's nominating yet, but we do know Renee is the HOH right now. You know, this is a pretty interesting situation. I was talking with my friend about it earlier today, and she's in a really iffy spot, right? Like she's a part of the girly pops, but she's like the bottom. You know, the Shania and Claudia on the dailies, as we saw, have a final 4 proposed with Daniel and Anika. Right now, we know that Ty is not the biggest Renee fan, and I don't think Kuzi necessarily would take Renee to the end. So right now, it's kind of a bad spot. I think that she's in a position where she's kind of in a bad place where she has to like win competitions at specific spots to make it to that end spot. And even if she gets to that end spot, she has a lot of enemies in that jury house, you know? So it's like in my opinion, her best bet is to try to sit next to Shania, but it's not looking good. Like I think she's gonna obviously target Ty here, but you know, Kuzi's gonna be pissed if she gets eliminated. She will poison the jury. I don't think the people in the jury house right now care too much about Renee. The people in the house don't care too much about Renee. Renee is in a pretty bad spot. What does she need to do to flip this game around for her?
I don't know. I think that it might be important for her. Like, I think getting Ty out for Renee could be something that was like a huge, like, okay, she did that. Like, her back was against the wall. She got somebody out that was really big. But even then, I feel like I don't even know how the jury is going to receive that from her. Like, she's been so great and like strategic, and she knows a lot about this game. So like, she's been able to talk her way off the block and like save herself. Like, even in that fatal feast, like, she was just like going off, and everyone was like, you know, he will save you, because she has a low threat level. But I just don't know, like, how, like I said, how the jury's receiving her just in terms of being the winner of this season. Like, I don't know. Even if she gets Ty out, like, I really don't. Even if she gets Kuzi out, like, I just don't even know if she's going to be at that, like, level to win.
Yeah, I wish, I don't think anybody knows about this, or Ty suspects that final 4. If she could come into that information, and then I think she should target either Daniel or Anika, mainly Daniel, get them out and take away the girly pop's option to work with Daniel and Anika. Then they'll be less likely to get rid of Renee because they will need Renee. But she doesn't
Yeah.
have that information, and I can't imagine how she would get it. Ty insinuated he thought something was happening, like loosely. I hate not having feeds, but he loosely insinuated something was going on, and he was questioning why Claudia would not put up Anika or Daniel as opposed to Kuzi. He was questioning
Right.
that. He was digging. So I'm hoping he brings something up to Renee, but I don't know if she would believe him, honestly. But that's what I think her best play is. Get Daniel or Anika out so the girly pops have less of an option for an end game, and then try to get Kuzi and Ty and march forward with the. But she can't win again. I don't know how she could win, but I don't know.
It's tough, right?
It's tough because you start thinking about scenarios like, oh, maybe not. I don't know. She needs to get, to me, what would be most beneficial to her is she needs to get Ty out and then also eliminate the girly pops option to work with those other two people somehow.
For sure.
Well,
Even her, like, I know I wish she could just, like, I know it's bad because her only allies are the girly pops, but I'm like, just throw Shanae up there. Like, come on, just do it.
Really?
She's never gonna do that after she vetoed her. She
That's a
made
bad idea,
Larry
man.
Klinger in an argument before. She was like, I think she was so thankful to Shania. She kind of beat that on the drum too, but she's
For sure.
never doing that. It'd be Claudia
know.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you got
I mean, so if in my opinion, right, like if any of the girly pops sit next to any Crown members, you're done. Like you're not winning. Don't do it. Don't sit next to the Crown members. So she kind of has to rock out with being that third option for a while. I think she should try to make a final 2 deal with Shania, even if she doesn't think she's going to stick with it. Just do it. Lay down the groundwork. So when it comes down to that point later, she can just be like, hey, look. She has Ty in the house. Like, you know, they were flirting. She got people that respect her. They don't respect me. Take me instead. You know, like she needs to win a lot of competitions, obviously, but like, look, they've been winning a lot. So it's not impossible. I think Shania is literally her only saving grace at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think she beats anybody else. I'm gonna just be honest there. But what are you gonna do?
I agree. I don't know what she's gonna do. It's a hard road for her. Yeah.
But on the other flip side, we have the other person that's on the bottom of their alliance, even though they're in a very powerful position. It's Kuzi. I think Kuzi, unfortunately, is at the bottom of her alliance at this point. You know, it's interesting seeing every single person's jury questioning. You know, we're seeing everyone basically going out saying that I'm considering voting Kuzi to win at this point. You know, and I mean, it's not released yet, but just spoiler alert, when Josie did her extra interview with Hope, he actually said that he was considering to take Kuzi to the end. That's a lot of people. We have Satina, Jonathan, and Hope now all saying, I was going to take Kuzi to the end. We have Ty also who wants to say, I want to take Kuzi to the end, and she's not really looking to work with this guy long term. So Kuzi right now is taking out a lot of her options. You know, she's kind of making her job a lot harder than it really needs to be. Does she have a shot of winning still, or is this kind of a lost cause at this point?
She got to get there. I mean, if she gets there, it's over against any person, but I just don't know how she's going to get there. I can't. These people have made choices that make me scratch. I'm like, what? When I last night I was so upset. I was like, it's over. Ty and Kuzi are on the block. But when I tuned into dailies today and I saw Renee and Kuzi talking, I'm like, what? You're not gonna put her up? What? Okay, go ahead, go. I was shocked. I was like, wow, I didn't expect to like have some more hope at the beginning of the week. But I think she has to go with Ty and Renee and battle those other ones, but I don't know if that's possible. What I hope that happens is Renee leaves her off the block. Ty goes on the block with somebody. Kuzi wins that veto, snatches Ty off that block, and then they're forced to vote out somebody else. That's what I really want. That is such a long shot, but that's what I really, 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 really want to happen. And I don't know, although Renee said that she's not going to put Kuzi up, I know she has to be the backdoor option. And then 2, Kuzi snuck in first today to speak to Renee. And I don't know. I'm sure that the girly pops are going to go in there pushing Kuzi. Daniel and Anika, I don't know how hard they're going to push Kuzi, but I'm sure they would rather it be her than them. So they're going to push Kuzi. So I don't know how that choice that I saw this morning is going to hold up against everybody else. So
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I think Ty would still go, but I don't know how she's going to get to that end. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that there's such a long way between now and the winter. Like, even though it's only like 2.5 weeks away, they have a double eviction to go. They have like just like so many roads. So I'm not really thinking about the winner yet. But I 100% agree with you. When Renee won, I was happy for her, but I was upset because I was like, yeah, of course you're going to put Kuzi up. That makes the most sense. So when I saw that they weren't putting her up, I was like, what? Are you serious? Yeah. But that also makes me think, yeah, you guys are going to backdoor her. Like, duh. Like, it's the only option. And just knowing how Renee is a super fan. And even if she doesn't get out this time in a double, she's in so much risk again, unless she wins some sort of power. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
can't see it. Unless she's winning vetoes every time, I can't see how she gets there. Like, I really, really can't.
She needs to, instead of focusing all of her energy on getting Ty out, she needs to understand that that's a relationship that she should be actually working with. Like, take that energy and direct it towards Daniel C. Okay. Like, he's not even loyal to you. Like, you know what I mean? Really, but I wish I could tell her that and be like, hey, I got to tell you something.
That's what I wanted to do when you didn't put Josh on the block, or Kevin on the block. I was like, Betty!
I know, I was an idiot.
But
if you don't get out of here,
I get it.
You were fine.
I think that now that when Ty promised Kuzi his vote this past week, he told her, I want to sit final 2 with you. I think now she would lay off Ty. You know, at this point, if she wins, she's not targeting Ty. And she said if she had gotten this HOH, she wasn't going to target him. She was going for a girlie. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, hopefully her being on the block by a girly, like, hopefully she has that like fire in her now where she's like, I will get you out, Claudia, because that's what we need. Like, forget Ty. Like,
I think she will, because she was pissed when Claudia put her up. She was like, oh, just wait. If she would have won, Claudia would be on the block. Unfortunately.
Like, rubbish person. I love
it. Before I move on to the next person, so those Wendy's points, like, she has a lot of them. What are those points for again? I completely forget. Where are they doing those?
We don't know.
Like, when are we going to figure that out? Like, we haven't even done a double eviction either. Like,
everybody has given their points to her too.
Yeah.
She has everybody that's been eliminated went to Kuzi. So she's like 10,000 points ahead.
That's why I'm like, what is going to happen? And my biggest fear is she gets eliminated, and then Daniel collects all her money. I'm gonna be like,
give it to Anika. I hope she gives it to Anika. I would rather that.
I don't know what she's gonna do. Dang, you really hate Daniel. That's crazy.
I don't hate him.
Yeah, no, you don't hate him.
I don't hate him. The only person I dislike is Ty, and that's just more so because of how he speaks to people. I don't hate Daniel, but I root against who I'm rooting for, and he's in the background doing all kind of voodoo to get my girl out.
I know.
Good plays though. I don't knock him for it. I just root against him a little bit, you know.
I feel the same way. Like, as a person, I'm sure he's a great person. Like, I can't wait to get to know him, you know, one day or whatever. Like, in the game, I don't know what it is about the middle that I just like. I'm like, oh God, not this person again. Like,
I mean, he did the work to get there. So, like I said, kudos. But
100%. And like, if you can get to the final, that's respect. Like, I want you to get to the end. Like, that's amazing. It's just sometimes in the way that they get there. But that's the beauty of the game, right? We're seeing all these different players, like, resonating, not resonating, hating, loving. Do you know what I mean?
Like, and I'm sure that if I got to see more of him, more of his personality, I wish I could, you know, because I feel like I'd be more. But he's still working against my favorite. That's not.
I know. Especially if he takes Kuzi out. Like, I need a minute before I got back.
Whatever, Daniel. Good play. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
You know.
So the last person, because we kind of talked about Shania when we talked about Renee, is Claudia. So Claudia, I think she has also had a crazy journey here. She went from like being in great position, and then I think she was in a really bad position for a while.
Mhm.
And I don't think the girly pops are out the clear yet, but she's kind of in a good position again. You know, like she's
Yeah.
secured a final two with Shania. She's secured a final four with Anika and Daniel. Ty, I mean Ty and Claudia are coming after each other, but like, are they really? Like, they're so hit and miss every week. So, at this point, her only opposition is like Kuzi. Yeah, like Kuzi and sort of Ty at this point, like the only people actively coming for her. What is Claudia's winning path at this point either? Like what does she need to do to secure herself the win? Do we think the jury would respect her enough to give her a win at this point? How do we
Mhm.
feel about it?
I like Claudia. I root against her. Just because she's on the opposite side, but I like her. I think she's smart. Well, I don't like all of her moves, but I think she's smart. I think she's strategic. I think she has a good social game. Even how, um, after she nominated Kuzi and she went and tried to talk to her and tried to follow up, I just like how she approaches the game. I like her personality. I was super proud of her when she slapped Ty on the block. We don't see women slapping their showmans on the block or their ex showmans like that. I was really proud of her, and I was proud of her in all the moments that she stood up to him. And I think that if she gets there with a couple of more wins and taking a couple of more people out, I think she has a really, really good shot. I think she's winning against the girly pops. I think her only opposition to lose is Tuesday, Daniel. I think she's the third rung to win out of everyone.
Nanika?
No, I think oh, yes,
Oh
Anika
man,
has
I'm
the crown. You're
telling
right, you're
you.
right. Anika, I'm iffy, but fourth.
I feel you.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think when she put on the show, her showmance, I was very impressed. Like I was like, wow, you literally came here to win. But then again, I'm also skeptical because I'm like, you put him up on the block, let him play in the veto, and like this, you know what I mean? Where I'm like, you probably put him up, but you'd be okay if he stayed. Do you know what I mean? But I do appreciate the way, like it's jury management, like going up to Ty at the end, like letting him know, hey, I'm putting you up. Here's a hug, regardless of how you feel. To me, that shows that you're the bigger person,
Yeah.
and I'm here for it. Like I really believe a woman will win this season, and regardless of who it is, I will be so excited. It's like the third time it's happened in all 10 seasons. Like I think this would be the third time. Like
Yeah.
cool, very cool.
I'm ready for it. I really do think I think she'd make a really good argument for herself. Like I
For
think
sure.
she
And
has
I
a
feel like she
really
has
good
good
shot.
support too.
Yeah, the girly pops, if she's not next to one of them, will vouch for her. I don't think that anybody doesn't necessarily have respect for her game. Even Santina, I'm pretty sure in an interview that I saw, would vote for her, would be willing to, depending on, what she did. So I think she has a shot. I like Claudia. I wish she was with Kuzi, but Kuzi.
All right. So I guess we can start closing this out. So I guess my last question is for the both of you. Who has the best shot at winning and who has the worst shot at winning right now? How do you guys feel? Start with you, Betty.
I think Daniel C has like the least path of resistance right now. Like, and I
Yeah.
also think like people like him don't have to win anything and they're literally going to be safe. Like there are
Yeah.
players who play the middle who don't have to worry about comp wins. And then there are people who are just hustling, like, because they have to win for survival, AKA Ty.
Yeah.
So for me, I think Ty probably has the path of like if he can get to the end, that would be like wild, but he's got to win his way there, unfortunately. Whereas Daniel, I feel like holds such a great space because he will literally be in the final regardless, I find, like, or top 4 in my mind, without a doubt, unless someone can catch on to what he's doing, or if he wins HOH and has to play his cards right away. So those are the only ways I feel like he would probably be in a bad seat. So Kevin, not Kevin. Daniel and Ty.
Yeah, I agree with Betty. Daniel, I can't see how he could possibly go out. Next to who? I cannot imagine how he's going to get put up next to somebody he would go home against. And the jury likes him. Like they seem to really respect Daniel. So he's put in a lot of work socially to be in good with a lot of people, and especially to be in the position that he's currently in. So for me, he's the front runner, not Kuzi. And then I also agree, Ty. I just can't see how he's Ty and Kuzi, honestly. I just can't see how they could get there with so many people against them.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. I'm looking at this. I want to say Daniel. I don't know why I'm scared of his comp ability because we haven't seen him try to win something
Right.
fully yet, other than the one veto. So it should not. Nah, I'll be with you. I think Daniel's gonna get there. But right now, Ty obviously the hardest road. But who has the hardest chances realistically? Kuzi is really going to have like an uphill battle here. Like I'm really scared for her. I don't know if she even has like a final two locked in. Like, why are you not accepting Ty's final two?
She didn't
Mind
accept
blowing.
it? Oh.
He was like, I want to go final two. She was like, I'll take a final four, but like, after that, like you gotta like get yourself there. Like, come on, bro.
It's like, just say it. Like
Just say it, right.
They will literally have skepticism and they're like, oh man, she doesn't want a final four with me. I gotta get her out, And then I get it though, because I get what Kuzi's doing, like a woman of her word. She doesn't want to say that if she can't really honor it. Do you know what I mean? But girl, don't do that. It's the game. You gotta lie to these people. They don't owe you nothing. You don't owe them nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
George
But
Howard.
yeah. But all right, look, that's our podcast. This was a great little time. Anyone who is interested in supporting the podcast, obviously, please check out our social media pages. Please give us a follow. You can like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us get in the algorithm. And if you're listening to this on our audio platforms, please rate it 5 stars, but only 5 stars. If you hear it and you don't like it, just don't rate it all. I'll just wait till you hear something that you do like. But Betty, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, it's a great time having you here. What are you doing and where can people find you?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to be back. You can find me on Instagram on Bethlehem Yirsaw and then on Twitter, Betty Yirsaw 3.
All right. And Janelle, how about you?
I'm Janelle Michaud on everything. If you see me, that's me. Now you can catch up with me hopping on with Silent Podcast for Big Brother and occasionally Survivor. So it's really fun.
And like usual, you can find me at 8Ball Bangers on all social media platforms. Like I said, every Friday we will be here to talk Big Brother Canada. I do think we have like one more scheduled guest, and then if we get anyone else, we get someone else. But join us next week. We have Kevin. Kevin's coming on next week, so it should be a fun little time. So shout out Kevin. Like I said, if you haven't and you want to see how our questions went with Satina and Hope, check out the video after that. And if you're into Love is Blind, me and Javier and Josie, we will be doing our final podcast for that, I believe Monday. So make sure you look out for that. But until next time, I'm Isaiah. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.